Majority of the so-called agents have no idea what they're selling. I'm serious, because they've been in the market for no longer than 2, maximum 3 years. They wouldn't know what an investment is if it came and hit them on the face, because they never invested a penny in their lives. So, what they have to go by is projects that are marketed to them.
Yeah.
Developers bombard agents every day. Sell my property,
Yeah.
I'll give you this much commission, I'll give you that much commission. Okay? Most agents, the higher the commission they get, the more they're going to push that project, irrespective of whether that development or that project is suitable for you as the buyer or not. Sorry, but that's how it is.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Straight Talk. In this episode, we're in our Istanbul office with Cameron Deggin. Cameron, welcome.
Hello, welcome.
Today, Cameron, we are going back to the drawing board.
Oh, are we?
As you know, we have
I like the drawing board.
we have made upwards of 60 episodes of Straight Talks now, and we have gotten so far deep into the real estate game, and now we're talking about very small details and dynamics and etc. But still, we have, a lot of people, a lot of our audience who are there for as first-time buyers who have developed an interest only a couple of months ago and who are being subjected to the new feed of Straight Talks that we're giving to them. So I thought this one, let's go back, okay, as if this is our first or the second episode, and let's talk about, what are your advices, what are your tips for a first-time real estate buyer here in Turkey as a foreigner?
I do understand what you're trying to get out of me.
Exactly.
You're basically saying you're a foreign potential buyer. You get on Google and you dip your toes in the water and you're bombarded by hundreds of agents or whoever trying to sell this and that to you. What do you do? Okay. Here's what I'm going to say.
All right.
The more you see a project or a property being marketed by more number of agents, or the more something is pushed your way, the less you should be inclined to buy it.
Why?
Because it's not an investment. It's surplus stock sitting there where agents are being given excessive commissions to push. Seriously, I've come to understand the market over many, many years now, and it really is very simple. The Turkish market is extremely simple. The dynamics are very, very simple. Majority of the so-called agents have no idea what they're selling. I'm serious, because they've been in the market for no longer than 2, maximum 3 years. They wouldn't know what an investment is if it came and hit them on the face, because they never invested a penny in their lives. So, what they have to go by is projects that are marketed to them.
Yeah.
Developers bombard agents every day. Sell my property,
Yeah.
I'll give you this much commission, I'll give you that much commission. Okay? Most agents, the higher the commission they get, the more they're going to push that project, irrespective of whether that development or that project is suitable for you as the buyer or not. Sorry, but that's how it is.
Yeah, that's correct. That's definitely correct.
So, the more something is marketed, the more suspicious you should be of that product.
Well, I mean, you're right. I definitely agree with you. But we see a certain pattern in some parts of Istanbul more than some other parts.
Yes.
See, not only projects being overly marketed, but some areas are also being overly marketed. I'm going to give you an example now. See, I really think deeply about this next move that I'm going to do, whether or not I should pronounce the name of these certain areas, or shall I keep it to myself? But if this is straight talk, this is straight talk, and I'm going to say it.
You got to say it.
See, Esenyurt is by far one of the worst areas in Istanbul. Okay.
highest crime, worst property quality.
Worst demographics, everything. Yet when you go there, there are so many of these very extremely low quality high rises. I don't know how they're going to stand withstand the earthquake anyway. That's another subject as it is. But you have so much of these places. And one of my friends, somebody who I ended up befriending, told me, you know what, Alaattin, when I first came into this Beylikdüzü Esenyurt area, they took me around and they showed me these towers and everything. They said, look, this is the new Singapore of Istanbul. You know, Istanbul is old.
They call it the new Istanbul.
They call it the Singapore
The
of
Singapore
Istanbul.
of Istanbul.
You know, and naturally you think as a foreign investor, oh, okay, so if this is where the high rises are, if this is where the big buildings are, if this is the new concrete jungle.
Shall I tell you, sorry to interrupt, shall I tell you why Esenyurt, which is right next to Bahçeşehir, kind of up from Beylikdüzü, that area of Istanbul, shall I tell you why that area is the most commonly marketed area to foreign nationals?
Please proceed.
The reason is extremely simple. Extremely simple. Foreign nationals buying properties in Istanbul is a fairly recent event. It started in around 2011, 2012. That's 10 years. So it has a track record of 10 years. 10 years ago, in Bahçeşehir and Esenyurt, these two areas in particular, a few larger developers, Turkish developers, they set up and they started building properties dedicated to this new forming foreign market.
Yes.
Okay? And they were very successful in marketing. Very, very successful.
Because they had the argument of the third, which one?
Well, they had it.
Canal Istanbul, the
look,
canal,
they
and
had,
everything.
They had a few arguments, but not only that, but they were the first ones to come out onto the market and market to foreign nationals in their language 10 years ago. So all these foreign nationals came and they started buying in Bahçeşehir, Esenyurt, Beylikdüzü. Bahçeşehir, Esenyurt, Beylikdüzü. There were a few developments that contained 3,000, 4,000 units in one.
Yes.
Okay? A lot of people made a lot of losses there now. People who bought 10 years ago, 7, 8 years ago. Okay? But that's besides the point. What I'm saying is that area kind of happened to develop as a foreign ghetto.
Yes.
Foreign suburb. And then more and more people bought, then their friends and family came. So it's the what I call the stickability factor. A worse way of saying it is following the crowd. Because a lot of foreigners, when they buy properties, they follow the crowds.
Correct.
They buy where their relatives bought. They buy where their friends bought. They probably, my assumption is, they feel safe by doing that.
Yes.
Following the crowd. However, the problem, which I believe you're trying to highlight with this episode, you know, this is the 60th episode or something. So, you know, you start, and I understand what you're trying to get out of me. Okay? I think you're trying to highlight the fact that following the crowd, being a sheep, is not necessarily in your best interests.
Of course not.
I think this is what you're trying to say.
That is exactly what I'm trying to say. And because this is what we have been talking behind the scenes. See, behind the scenes, when you and I are downstairs having lunch and everything, this is what we're talking about. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on a minute. If we, the real estate people, if we're claiming to be the best real estate agency in the country, Property Turkey, the consultancy, the straight talk and everything, I said, all right, why don't we take this talk that we have in our lunchtime,
then put it on air.
Just put it on
Which
air.
is basically what we're doing.
Yeah, just put it on air and let people
because,
see.
I mean, this lunchtime, we had one of our guys with us, in fact, one of our managers, and he's been with us since 2011, Emre.
Yeah.
And basically, he's seen what was sold in 2011, 12, 13, 14, whatever. And obviously, he knows the prices. And the argument we were having is, Emre goes, I am yet to see someone who bought in Bahçeşehir and made money.
It's impossible.
No, I'm sure it is possible. But of the foreigners, I think probably there are very few people who actually bought in these areas. And today they can actually put their hands up and say, I am in a profit-making situation. Not in Turkish lira terms, forget Turkish lira, in hard currency terms.
Yeah, but I would also like to highlight one more thing here, that we're talking strictly on the investment perspective.
Yeah.
Certainly
Yeah.
in Bahçeşehir,
Green and suitable for families. I agree. I get that.
There are
side.
so many
I get
nice 3-bedroom
Yeah,
apartments.
my mind always goes to
I get that.
what I paid and what it's worth today.
I get that. I mean, it's a place to live, Bahçeşehir. You can live in that place.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with
And
that.
Beylikdüzü.
Yeah. Of
There
course.
are there are some parts of Beylikdüzü which are actually very nice.
Of
like
course
the,
it
like
is.
like the Beykent area, like the area that oversee the Sea of Marmara.
Yeah.
There are some really nice, clean neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Very selective, but there are.
Of course, and we're not knocking anybody here, but we're just highlighting a fact that's known to any savvy investor anywhere around the world. Even if you go to Malaysia or Brazil or Russia or Dubai, wherever you want to go, you're gonna see the same system, playing along. So a lot of people know this already anyway, but I really wanted you to put your weight on
look,
it.
here's the interesting thing. What's opposite the Sea of Marmara from Beylikdüzü, but Bahçeşehir, and that coastal sort of Avcılar and that coastal line, kind of, what's opposite that?
Bursa?
On the Asian side.
On the Asian side.
Asian side
sorry.
of
So,
Istanbul.
okay. Compare it. Okay.
Well, maybe
I'd
not
say-
exactly opposite, but kind of say.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'd say Maltepe, Kartal, Pendik,
All right.
these types
All
of
right.
areas.
All right. Have you ever been to Maltepe, Kartal?
Of course.
Okay. All right. What is it like?
Maltepe. Okay, Kartal. I'll tell you one thing. I've been there last week, and we were entering into Kartal from the highway side, and let me describe you the sense of arrival that I had. The sense of arrival is you have an incredible sea view right in front of you. The area is very green. There are high rises, but it's not all high rises. There are low rises at the same time. It's a very organized place, but it is organized complexity, which means that it's a city that is not as boring as Beylikdüzü. When you look at Beylikdüzü from above, you will see that it is boring. It's green and everything, but it's boring, very orderly, but boring. But in places like Kartal, Maltepe, you have a very nice organized complexity, yet you have a beautiful promenade by the sea.
It's a gorgeous promenade that stretches for, I'd say, all the way from Bostancı, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
From
the
Kadıköy, let's say
end of
Kadıköy.
Kadıköy,
Yeah.
all the way up to
Pendik,
Kartal,
yeah.
end of Kartal. That's a 20-kilometer
30 kilometer stretch.
And most of that stretch is absolutely gorgeous.
Of course.
Absolutely gorgeous. Green on the one side, very clean, sort of tea gardens, restaurants, but nothing dense. Nothing dense. And when you come to the level of the Princess Islands, around Dragos and thereabouts
Dragos is beautiful.
the view is out of this world.
Yes.
You've got a stunning view of the Princess Islands. And I said to myself, and we checked some prices in Kartal.
Yes.
In Maltepe, Dragos.
Yeah.
We were going around and looking at what portfolio we have and and what prices are on offer. I was shocked to find that in some parts prices are comparable to better parts of Esenyurt
Yes.
and some parts of Beylikdüzü, Bahçeşehir. Whereas in terms of living standards,
Yes.
in terms of the geographic location, there's no comparison.
There's absolutely no comparison.
There's absolutely no
Yeah.
comparison, which means
Yeah.
that Asian part of Istanbul is far better value for money
Of
than
course.
the heavily marketed European suburb of Istanbul.
Of course. I mean, this is what we have been talking about.
Yet there are very few foreign buyers there.
Very few.
Very few. It's all Turkish market.
Yeah. And
Why?
well,
I
mean,
know the reason,
You definitely know the reason. We covered this in one of our previous episodes. Europe versus Asia, Istanbul's Europe versus Asia. The word Europe itself has a price tag on it. You know, it has a margin.
And also,
Yeah.
I think it goes back to what we were discussing 5 minutes ago, the crowd effect.
Yes.
It's like, my brother-in-law bought there, my neighbor's wife's friend's cousin bought there, my relatives bought there, so I'm going to buy there. It's like people tend to gravitate toward what they feel, the safety in numbers, the safety in association.
Yeah.
Whereas I think one should kind of probably look beyond that, because seriously, when you look at these two sort of prospects, the Asian side, the European side, we're talking the suburban areas
Yes.
around the Sea of Marmara. There's no comparison,
Not at all.
as far as I'm
Not at
concerned.
all. I'm sorry to say that, but the European suburbs generally look like concrete jungles.
Yeah.
Asian suburbs looks like beautiful Mediterranean.
Yeah,
sea
there's more
resort
of a
type of,
continental
yeah.
Mediterranean
Except
feel.
for Büyükçekmece, I'd say Büyükçekmece is a pretty nice area.
But
It's
Büyükçekmece is way out, and
But it's way out,
it-
yeah,
it's
correct,
It's
yeah.
nice. I mean, this is basically this was the subject of our conversation this lunchtime,
Yeah.
and in fact we had a bit of a laugh, and we were a little bit sad as well, because.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, 10 years ago, we did sell Bahçeşehir.
Well, I mean,
and
we
Beylikdüzü,
still- we-
because that was the only thing we had to sell at
Yeah,
the
but
time.
we still do sell these places.
We
That's
do.
another
It's not
case.
that we don't. But
If a person wants European side, wants a 3-bedroom apartment with a greenery and everything, and only has got say $200,000, well, where do you go? You go to Bahçeşehir, or you go to Beylikdüzü. You don't come to Şişli, or you don't come to
No,
the
I
center
agree,
of
I
Istanbul.
agree.
And given the fact that most of these people have a mental blockage towards the
So
Asian
why don't
side,
why don't they go to Maltepe, Dragos, Kartal? Because certainly with that budget, just like Bahçeşehir, Beylikdüzü, they're going to be able to find
much
very
nicer
decent
places.
homes. But one thing I noticed is for 10 properties that are available on the European
Oh, yeah.
suburb, you have one, if that,
Yeah.
available on the Asian suburb.
That's-
There isn't much of a supply.
See, some part, the rest of the conversation during the lunchtime was, Cameron said, "Is it gonna make a business sense?" Well, no, it's not. It's not gonna make any business sense for us that we have the available stock here in one part of the continent where we can easily sell. We don't need to go under the mattress for this, and direct people towards an area where there's less amount of stock.
There's very few
available.
things to
There's
sell
very
on the
few things
Asian
to sell.
But
And- and-
hopefully this may change.
yeah, and hopefully. Well, developers on the Asian side, please continue building some more beautiful, nice,
Yeah.
affordable places so that we can.
Versus Dragos.
Amazing.
Okay, versus Dragos. This is a little project that you aired
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes.
Before COVID,
Yeah.
it was work in progress at the time, and I must admit, it looked like 2 shabby towers.
Yeah.
Last week I was there.
Beautiful.
Versus Dragos looks gorgeous.
Very beautiful.
Gorgeous. And the top floors with that amazing Princess Island views, 2 3-bedroom apartments. Do you know how much they're going for now?
How much?
You're not going to believe this. 4 million Turkish lira.
Oh my God.
We were selling them 2 years ago at 1 point something.
I remember we were selling it 1.6, and if you remember, you and I, we went up to one of the high floors and we
Yeah.
had a gorgeous sea view in the island, and
Yeah.
we said, I cannot believe this is 1.6 million
Yeah.
Turkish liras. And back then the dollar was not 2. Like the dollar was probably 8 or something, 7 point something.
Yeah.
You know, it was around 7-ish. But yeah, horses for courses.
Well, exactly. So, what's the
What's the message now?
What's the
What's
message
the
we're
bottom
trying to
line?
give here?
Okay, the message
there a
is
message?
come have lunch with us. What can I say?
That's it.
The message is what you have been saying. Think outside the box.
Yeah, a little bit.
Don't
yeah.
fall for
Don't
marketing.
follow. Don't
you know?
don't
Yeah.
always follow the crowds.
Yeah.
Because in the real estate game, most often than not, following the crowds isn't the best strategy you can pursue. In fact, quite the contrary. I think those little gems, better areas, better homes, certainly better
I'll
investments
cut you off now.
are not where the crowds are.
I'll cut you off. I think the message is not to, you know, following the crowds isn't always going to work for your best interest. I think it will, because we are telling them to follow the real crowd, which are the Turks, which is in 95%. We're actually telling them.
Okay, all right. He's
You
playing
see-
with words now. He's playing
No,
with
no, no.
words.
Well, seriously. I mean,
I get that.
What's the number of foreigners who are buying real estate in Turkey? 40,000 homes only sold, 40,000 transactions, whereas you have 1.5 million transactions every
Yeah.
single year. So
Yeah.
that's like 3-4%.
Yeah.
So you're saying I'm gonna follow this 3-4%. Yet I'm going to ignore what the Turks are buying. I mean, look at the Turkish and foreign composition of the area
Yeah. Oh,
in
yeah.
the
Yeah. Oh,
specific
yeah.
project.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
Oh, yeah.
going to give away the fact that, okay, this is not an investment.
This is one of the most important indicators.
Yes.
Turkish and foreign composition of a development.
Yes.
The higher the Turkish, the better the investment value, generally,
Yes.
of the developments. Anyway, so
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
our lunchtime.
Nice little episode. Thank you very much, Cameron. Deggin.
Thanks a lot.
And guys, with this WhatsApp number, you can always reach us to ask any of your questions, and you can comment down below. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.